Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, what does that mean? Your car's computer, the ECU, is constantly monitoring the efficiency of your catalytic converters. It does this by comparing the readings from two oxygen sensors. There's an upstream sensor, also called sensor 1, located before the catalytic converter, and a downstream sensor, sensor 2, located after it. The upstream sensor's reading should fluctuate rapidly, showing the air-fuel mixture adjustments. The downstream sensor's reading should be much more stable, indicating that the converter is doing its job cleaning up the exhaust gases. When the downstream sensor starts to mimic the upstream sensor's rapid fluctuations, the ECU flags it and says, "Hey, this converter isn't working as efficiently as it should be," and boom, the P0430 code is triggered. Now, you might be asking, what's bank 2? On engines with a V shape, like a V6 or V8, the cylinders are split into two banks. Bank 1 is the side that contains cylinder number 1. Bank 2 is the opposite side. So, P0430 points specifically to a problem with the catalytic converter on bank 2. This code is particularly common on V-engine cars, and we see it a lot in European makes like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, as well as many American and Japanese models with V6 or V8 engines. If you have an inline engine, like a quattro-cylinder, you'll only have a bank 1, so you'd see a P0420 instead. What causes a P0430 code? Well, just like its twin, there are several potential culprits. The most common cause is, unfortunately, a failing catalytic converter. They don't last forever, and over time the precious metals inside can become contaminated or break down, reducing their effectiveness. But don't rush out to buy a new converter just yet. Other issues can trigger this code. An exhaust leak somewhere between the engine and the catalytic converter can throw off the oxygen sensor readings. A faulty downstream oxygen sensor can also be the problem. If the sensor is old or failing, it might send incorrect data to the ECU, making it seem like the converter is bad when it's actually fine. Less common, but still possible, are engine misfires or an improper air-fuel ratio, which can send unburnt fuel into the exhaust and damage the converter over time. So, how do we diagnose it properly? The first step is to check for any other codes. If you have misfire codes or fuel trim codes, you need to address those first, as they could be the root cause of the P0430. A visual inspection is next. Look for any obvious cracks or holes in the exhaust system, especially around the manifold and pipes leading to the bank 2 converter. Check the wiring for the oxygen sensors on bank 2 for any damage. The most definitive diagnostic method is to look at the oxygen sensor data with a good scan tool. You want to graph the voltage readings for both the upstream sensor 1 and downstream sensor 2 sensors on bank 2 at a steady engine speed. Around 2,500 RPM, the upstream sensors should show a rapidly oscillating waveform. The downstream sensor should show a much flatter, steadier line. If your downstream sensor's graph looks almost identical to the upstream one, it's a very strong indication that the catalytic converter has failed. What about repairs? If you found an exhaust leak, repairing it is the first step. This might involve welding a crack or replacing a gasket. If your diagnosis points to a bad oxygen sensor, replacing the bank to downstream sensor is the fix. They read typically not too expensive and are often a good thing to replace preventatively if they re-old. However, if you've ruled out exhaust leaks and faulty sensors, and the waveform data confirms low efficiency, then you're re-looking at replacing the catalytic converter on bank 2. This is usually the most expensive repair, so it's crucial to perform a thorough diagnosis to avoid replacing a perfectly good part. Remember, a P0430 code is an emissions-related failure, and you won't be able to pass an emissions test until it's fixed. Ignoring it can also lead to reduced fuel economy and potential long-term engine damage. So, it's best to get it checked out sooner rather than later. I hope this breakdown of the P0430 code was helpful. If you've dealt with this code before, drop a comment below and share your experience. What was the cause in your case? Your story could help someone else out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more car repair tips. We'll see you in the next one.